August 9th, 2019. Well, they say if you don't think it can get any weirder, hang out a minute, it will. Unfortunately, that happens in a very short time frame. Today in the New York Times, I'll put the link up below this on Facebook and try to link it, and I'll link it to YouTube. Try. Anyway, I'll make it so you can read this article. This New York Times article leads with something just keeps happening. Dayton shooting hits a city already in pain, which we are undoubtedly in pain, significantly so here in Dayton since the tornadoes and now the shooting and the economy for the last 30 years and all sorts of things. But I mean, there's a lot of pain across the United States too right now. We're not the only ones. But on this glorious Friday, August 9th, the New York Times has decided to take it to Dayton and make us look like the worst place in the whole world, where we're in more pain than anyone else because we're so screwed up. And I will say that the idea that there were major infrastructure problems with the water system in Dayton. There have been indictments towards past and current commissioners, which I'm having trouble getting definite information on that before and during the water problem. And then as the New York Times claims today, well, the KKK came to town, but there was trouble in Dayton way before that. And, it was, I believe, 9 KKK, Ku Klux Klan members were here. It took about 700 officers to protect them from the 1,000 protesters who would not be shouted down. And I think it cost the city of Dayton about $650,000-$60,000 to allow that Klan rally to occur, just to demonstrate free speech does exist in America, at least in some places up to now. So for the New York Times to make it look like all Dayton is in pain and a drug problem, which we've seen it, an impoverished problem with money and problems of this nature, we still have the best and highest spirited people of anywhere in the United States. Maybe it's adversity that makes us stronger, but nonetheless, if I remember right, out of the 5 boroughs in New York, one of them's called Crooklyn, right? Crooklyn. So how bad is it there, man? I mean, hell, I don't know. No matter how much pain we are here in Ohio, I think they're in infinitely more pain in New York. I mean, Trump lives there. Nonetheless, back to a serious subject, though, and I really didn't want to talk about all shootings. I hoped they would die down and things were calming down after all these Sandy Hook and all these others and Vegas, and like so many of us, wishing it would go away and be done and people would get some sense about themselves again. And hopefully it's going to happen sooner than later, but we're going to have to try to make it happen, it seems. So I find myself again seeing this article from the New York Times talking about our shooting, in contrast, to Chicago, 46, I think, shot and 7 killed. And in El Paso, numbers, Dayton, of course, 9 and 10, kind of, blah, blah, blah. The hard part is these are lives. They're not just people, and it's not just blah, blah, blah. And that's why I said it. These are people's lives. These are people who knew people, the people who are known and loved by other people in the society and the community. Now, what's really going on with this New York Times article that's bad is it's not just about making it look hard on us and woe is Dayton. Nietzsche would say it, pity's a wasted impulse. It's the fact that the New York Times, being a Democratic paper like most media, is using this opportunity, and I'm calling it that, this shooting is an opportunity to bolster the career, the political career of Nan Whaley. She is a Democrat, 43 years old. She's a love child, wants to move ahead. Sherrod Brown thinks she should be governor. He's endorsing her in this article. As I said, I'll post this article. He's endorsing her in here. Even DeWine and her got along. She argued and bickered with Trump, but who cares? The point is, everybody's got their problems, but Nan Whaley is not the sharpest tool in the shed. She happens to be a Democrat woman who's got the job right now in Dayton. I don't know that I'd want it, but the reality is, using this tragedy, tornadoes, her career bolstered just since the first of the year, as the New York Times article states. And of course, Whaley would say, oh, I have nothing to do with how they write it or what they say about my glorious self. But the reality is, we all know it's more media driven, media with a capital M, media with a small b for brain, thinking we're all ignorant, trying to collect the guns. And that's part of the New York Times story too. Oh yeah, it's time to collect the guns again. So we have people die in Dayton. And now we got a mayor who's been through adversity since the first of the year. Of course, Sherrod Brown says Dayton's been in trouble for 30 years. I was thinking more like, 50. The only good parts sometimes are Milano's and Jay's and the Pine Club. And the reality is, maybe Nan Whaley's a good person doing the best she can, but one more time, the media shows us politics is more important than the people who were killed and injured. And the people who were injured in this and affected by this, it'll be a long, long time. They'll never get over it. Just like you don't get over death of those close to you, you never get over tragedy. That's why there is post-traumatic stress, and it's a real thing. You learn to live with it at different levels. Nonetheless, Dayton may be in pain, and we pulled together through the tornadoes. We can pull together through this. So many communities mirror Dayton, Ohio, across the nation. We have a great country overall. People need to sit down and try to get along and be rational. But it's going to be kind of hard when media run by primarily liberal Democrats want to promote politics and politicking for governor, president, every single turn. That's not what this is about. This is about humanism on a higher level. It's about people in pain. It's about people who've died. Tornadoes, people lost everything, still just now being able to start to rebuild. Life is like this. Life is arduous. Life is hard. We need to be in it for the long haul. And if people from the New York Times want to come to Dayton, we'll take them to dinner. And when they invite us to come up there, we'll say, no thanks, man. I already been up there. And say hello to Crooklyn for me just before you buy that washer off the truck. I hope y'all have a good day. Peace out, y'all.